All right. So I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order and start roll call. John Ring,
Yep, I'm here.
thank you. Good to see you. Commissioner Jody Shattuck McNally.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Katie McGrath Novak, that's me. I'm here. Amy Moyer.
Here.
Brett Wolk said that he will not be in attendance. Christina Bury, not here. And then Vaughn Jones or Kirk Will.
Yep, Kirk's here.
Awesome. So that is a quorum. And I did want to just, acknowledge that Clyde Church has unfortunately had to step down, but we thank him for his service on the council and on the committee. I will miss having him around. He was always so cheerful. All right. So first on the agenda is to approve the June 9th meeting minutes. If people got a chance to look at those, I would accept a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
80 seconds. All right. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Great. Those meeting minutes pass. And then we weren't sure if we need council approval for this, but we figured it's probably better to just get it just in case. So I think I shared at our last meeting that I'm going to be going on family leave starting sometime in the next 2.5 weeks. And so in the meantime, Amy has graciously stepped up and offered to be the interim committee chair. She's been a committee chair in the past and did awesome. So when I was going to have to take a break, she immediately popped into my head as someone who might be well qualified to do that. So does anyone have any questions about that? Or Amy, do you have anything to share?
No, I just happy to help out Katie while you are on family leave. And I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I'll join as an interim chair from August through December. And then I'll work with Katie to get her back up to speed. And she will resume her duties as chair at the start of the next year. And certainly for you, Jody, I'm happy to be a conduit. You know, you're obviously part of this committee, but happy to be a conduit to the other subcommittee as things pop up. So happy to jump in an interim fashion. And Katie has been gracious to help support kind of a plan that I think we'll go through at the end of this meeting of topics to hit on through the end of the year. And happy to answer any questions, but happy to step in. And I think Katie and I just thought it might be good to have this conversation with the committee and potentially take an action so that we have everything buttoned up for when she goes on leave.
Thank you.
I would just like to first say, we wish you all the best. I know Katie, and I know this is going to be an amazing experience and opportunity, and wish you all the best and a wonderful bonding time. And thank you, Amy, for continuing to step up and to be a part of that. So I will go ahead, unless there's more discussion, make that motion that we approve for Amy to move to take over as interim chair for Katie for this Leveraging Resources Committee until end of December 2025.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Can I get a second?
Yeah, Kirk seconds.
All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? All right, cool. Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you, Amy. I am excited to see what you do. And like Amy said, at the end of the meeting, we've got kind of a draft schedule for the entire rest of the year that I think will be good to go through, just so that everyone on the committee knows what's going on and you guys can provide input and also get excited, because I think it's gonna be a cool lineup and I'm actually sad that I am gonna miss it.
And,
But before
Katie, I meant to mention this. We moved the meetings to the third Monday of the month, I think, through the end of the year, and maybe we'll continue if that works well. If that doesn't work for folks, just let me know, and at our next meeting, or in the interim over email, we can find the best date for this group. Since we are a smaller committee, it's important for us to try and make sure we have quorum.
Yeah, especially as we pull in speakers and such. Um, yeah, and I think Courtney already sent out the updated meeting invites, so you can check your calendar and see if those fit. Go ahead, Jody.
So that won't work for me once a quarter because I will, we have, what we call elected officials lunch in Lamar County where the third Thursday, we all, between the sheriff, the coroner, the commissioners, we all go to lunch and share and discuss this kind of our, we get along really well, we have kind of a functional, dysfunctional family and so I really need to be there on those days. And so I'll probably miss that day or come in on the last half or something like that. So, or come in the first half then and leave. But I just wanted to note that, that there's, once a quarter, that third Thursday doesn't work for me. Thanks.
And these are the third Monday is what we've moved them to.
I mean, yeah, I mean, for the third Monday, I mean, already next month we have our luncheon planned, so.
Okay, so would you just miss one quarterly, probably, like August?
It just depends. Sometimes, once in a while, I think it's happened once or twice in the last 5 years where everyone's got vacation or something and it's just, only having us 2 or 3 of us meet or out of the 10 doesn't make sense. But yeah, I'll probably be only partially or, not there at all in August.
Okay. I if like Brett is still able to go or Christina maybe, we should still be able to meet quorum, but yeah, Amy, maybe you can follow up with some people and just make sure.
That sounds good, because I think the fourth Monday would work well too, so we can always take an email poll if we need. And see if that doesn't jam up somebody else's who has, it's always hard. But thanks for flagging that, Commissioner. We'll try and make sure we can find a good date for everyone.
Awesome. I think there was maybe someone who had said the fourth Monday doesn't work. I'm not positive though, so yeah, we'll connect offline. Okay. So next up, we wanted to talk about a communications plan for the Forest Resilience Planning Guide. This is kind of an ongoing discussion that we've been having, and there've been some big changes that are happening or big progress that's been happening. So 3 things that I wanted to talk about today related to the Forest Resilience Planning Guide communications. One is the draft text for a 1-pager. So for those who may not remember or weren't there, we had created a 4-pager for the Colorado Forest Resilience Planning Guide and presented that at our most recent quarterly Forest Health Council meeting. And the feedback we got on that is the 4-pager is a good like practical overview of like, this is how you use the guide if you're already interested in the guide. But there was interest in having a more succinct 1-pager that is almost more of like a pitch for the guide of like, hey, here's this cool thing. This is why it's cool. This is why you are going to want to use it. And we talked about how we've got a couple of different target audiences for the guide, mainly being like the practitioner and community leader audience, and then the more like resource allocators audience, which is like policymakers and funders and agency leadership. And so we wanted 1 page that suits 2 audiences and really succinctly says like, this is what it is and this is why you should be excited about it. So Courtney had attached that in the email that went out prior to this meeting. But I know sometimes it's not always easy to take a look at that stuff in advance. So I'm going to share my screen and give everyone just a couple seconds to look through it. And then just any feedback that you have. And then after this meeting, I'll make any adjustments that we want to make. And then I've already sent it to Lynn Elliott, who is a new Forest Health Council member, and she has editing experience, and she also has access to a graphic design team through her work, which is awesome. So she is going to help us review it as well, and then they're going to format it for us. So that's kind of the next steps for this. So I will share my screen. Hopefully everyone can see this. I'll zoom in a little bit, and I'll scroll here in a few seconds, but just go ahead and maybe raise hand or just unmute and speak up if you have questions or comments about this. And the formatting will be beautiful.
Katie, I have two thoughts. The first is maybe in that second tagline where it talks about being biased towards action. I would recommend sort of making the end of that a little simpler, that just says build an inclusive science-informed collaborative that leads to action. I think that's a little cleaner.
Yeah, I agree.
And then I'm just wondering, we use the word a couple times called forest practitioners. And I think if we use this one pager and just a high level context, I'm wondering if there's a different word than practitioners that we can use that's better understood by a broader audience.
This is stewards or managers, or that's,
Maybe
I think,
managers, yeah.
yeah.
I was thinking managers as well. Sorry, I'm just, well, that one's a quote, so we'll leave that one.
Yeah, I think there's just a couple.
Cool. I think that's all of them. Great. This is exactly the kind of feedback that I am looking for.
Is the third bubble, that the bubble down there, is that right? Or should it be translate strategy into action?
Third bubble.
Third bubble under forest, the red forest managers there.
Oh, yeah, that is a typo. Translate strategy into action. Ha, perfect. And then down here, this is just what we'll include as kind of the bottom part. So I'll leave it up here. Do you feel like if you had never heard of the Forest Resilience Planning Guide, would this make you feel like you kind of get a sense for what's in it? Would it make you be like, oh, cool, I can use that? Or what's the vibe that it's giving off?
Katie, I think it's much improved by just giving some quick teasers into what this guide can help with and what's in it, and potentially a great companion document to the longer four-page intro, and then of course the document itself that provides varying level of detail for who might use this. But I just wanted to say I appreciate the effort that you put in and others on the committee to develop a more succinct one-pager.
Cool. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah, I thank you, Katie, and everyone. I know it's really hard to take such a complex, important topic, and I have my camera off because I'm eating lunch. It's one of those days where I'm going to be lucky to eat lunch. But I appreciate trying to make it succinct. But when it says who's it for, and you talk about policymakers, program managers, funders, maximize your impact, I'm wondering also, do we add one more in there? Is it because we have some NGOs or community leaders who are not in that group? And I was wondering if it needed one more category, like community leaders, or something like that. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on that. It just feels I can see someone looking at this and say, I don't fit into any of those, and I'm wondering if we're missing a group in some of those smaller communities, that doesn't really align. I'm just curious about that.
So we have down here, the forest managers and community leaders.
Oh, okay.
And the reason I separated those is because when I picture the guide, and happy to have pushback on this, but I picture that there are some people, these policymakers, program managers, and funders who more see it as at a high level of like, oh, like now I understand what communities go through and where they need different types of funding or resources or information. And then there's the people who are actually going to use the guide as like a step-by-step process that they can be like, oh, cool, I was really stuck on this. And so now I move into this step. So that's why it's separated into those two. Because I
Okay.
think it's used in different ways.
Is there a way to format it just so the forest managers and community leaders, because to me with that dotted line and everything, it didn't look like it was part of
Oh,
who's
yeah.
it for. And so I guess that, somehow format that so yeah, and then just making it maybe another bullet point so it looks like policymakers and forest managers are both under, if that makes sense. It just feels, again, I just think, for me, just because, all those factors, it just seemed like forest managers and community leaders was a separate category or, separate thing. So, maybe I'm just nitpicking, but also I'm just thinking if we're looking at for someone who does not have the been at the conversations like we all have, how this impact them. And then one more kind of nitpicky thing, just because someone kind of, I have a newsletter I sent out to about almost getting up to be close to 2,000 people now, my little personal email. Someone got after me for putting a explanation point after so many sentences, and I'm wondering, if we see that under impact and today, and I'm just wondering, since might get more professional, does it need the exclamation points, or can it just be maybe a period? It just they're kind of a professional editor or something, and they just said it just seems a little too much. So just I could be wrong, maybe someone feels different, but that's just something that drew my attention since I just got scolded on it myself. So
Well, I am a zillennial and I use way too many exclamation points. So that's always good feedback to hear.
well, that's probably this editor is younger than me, but she's pretty good. And so I was like, oh, okay, I guess I see that now. Thank you for your input. So I moved
Cool.
on.
Okay, well, I'll have them deleted for now and we'll see what Lynn says because she has a professional editing background as well. So definitely don't want to scream at people. And then I put a comment over here, just when we go to formatting, we'll be sure to double check that those who's it for two different audiences it's clear that those are both audiences and they are both equal. Cool. This is all super helpful. I will make some of these adjustments and resend it to Lynn. And we'll combine it with whatever she has to say. Any other final comments on this? And if you need more time to look through it later, you can always shoot me an email after the meeting with more, like if you have bigger thoughts or nitpicky things or whatever. Definitely happy to hear it. We want this to be really good. All right, I will stop my share. I will hit save on that. And then I will go into our next point, which is the press release. So this is something that the DNR team has been working really hard on. This was also an attachment to the email, and it's a little bit longer, so we're not going to go through it point by point like we just did with the one pager. But if you had a chance to read it, can you just let me know if there's any major issues that you see with it? And if you didn't have a chance to read it, but you would like to, this is just a note to please read it after the meeting and let us know if there's any major issues that you see. So I'll give a second if anyone did read it, to give any issues that you saw. Okay, cool. So follow up with via email if you have anything on that one. And then we also just wanted to open up the floor. Oh, go ahead, Amy.
You were maybe just getting to this, Katie, but I was gonna ask with the press release whether folks from this committee would be interested if for whatever reason press wanted somebody to talk to, or if there were any ideas of good candidates of people to talk to if somebody picks up this press release. Is that where you were going, or?
Yes, that is where I
Okay,
was.
sorry. Yeah.
No, that's okay. Thank you for bringing it up. We've got Laura and Brett are both already on that potential list of reporter contacts. But if anyone else would be interested, please let me know.
I'll just put my hat in the ring because sometimes they end up calling an elected out of the blue. So I'll just, have these talking points and can talk, but I will try to refer them back to Laura and that. So just a heads up on that. Sometimes they'll look on the committee list, and so just a heads up on that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, it would be great to have commissioners on that list. Cool. Let us know if you would like to be added to that list. And also, if you know of people in your communities who are using the guide or who seem really interested in the guide, one of the things that I know the DNR publicist person who's been working on this, they're really, really interested in having like a case study where they can actually say like, so and so use this on the ground. And it's so new that we're having trouble finding quotes like that. So if you have any recommendations for that, also please let us know because I think they're really interested in that too. My third and final point on communications is the Colorado Wildland Fire Conference is coming up this spring. It's going to be in Fort Collins this year. And we have long talked on this committee about how it would be really cool to, once we have a communications toolkit, be able to like go out into the world and have people on this committee give presentations and spread the word of the Forest Resilience Planning Guide. So at this point, we have a presentation, we are going to have a press release, we are going to have a 1-pager, we already have a 4-pager. So we've got a pretty cool communications toolkit coming together. And I was talking to Becca Samolsky from Fire Adapted Colorado, who they are like in charge of the Wildland Fire Conference. And she thought it could be cool to have a presentation on the Forest Resilience Planning Guide. I will be at this conference. I'm sure maybe some of you will be there. So I wanted to see if anyone was interested in doing a presentation with me or instead of me. I'm also happy to not be a part of it if someone else wants to do it. But if anyone wants to do that, I would love to schedule a follow-up and we can the request for proposals is already open, so we can follow up offline and put something together.
I'd be happy to be your wingman on that or wingwoman on that if you wanted to do that, Amy. Katie, I'd be happy to do that because since it's in Fort Collins again, I can afford. Last year was all the way in Snowmass. I did 3 different conferences in 4 days. I won't do that again, but since it's so close to home, I probably definitely will be there. So would love to support you in that.
Okay, awesome. Committee chairs reunited again. Anyone else? I think we can have a pretty big group if people are interested. All right, cool. Well, I'll write me and Jody down for now. I'll follow up with you offline about a proposal, and if anyone else decides that you want to be a part of it, let me know. All right. Cool. So that is the communications stuff. And then the last item on the agenda is to talk about the rest of 2025 for this committee. I have a little document that I can share, or Amy, I know you were maybe going to have a spreadsheet. Do you have that ready to share today, or?
I don't know if it's ready for prime time yet, Katie, but we can talk through it together in tandem with your document.
Okay, perfect. Let me pull up what I have. All right. So this is just kind of a quick overview that I put together. This has our meetings that we've already had in 2025 because I know like some people have been to some and not all. So I just wanted to put a quick summary there. And then for the rest of 2025, here's what we've got lined up. So first, in August, speaking of Rebecca Smolsky from Fire Adapted Colorado, their team has been working on a Restore Like grant for forestry, which is what this committee has been talking about a lot lately. So we thought it would be cool to hear from them what their ideas are, what maybe, how this committee could support something like that, what they've been facing, etc. So she is confirmed for August. In September, we're interested in getting this wildfire and watershed initiative for Resilient Colorado. They also go by WORK. And I think they're going to present for the legislative committee as well from that perspective, but we thought it could also be useful to have kind of this leveraging resources perspective from them. So we haven't confirmed who that will be, but we've got some people who Courtney can reach out to. But this is essentially corporate responsibility in the forest and wildfire space, and they've been doing a lot. I should have maybe gotten rid of some of my notes that I wrote here, but for October, so in September, my organization, the Colorado Forest Collaboratives Network, will be hosting our annual summit in September. And we're doing a long session on getting creative with funding. And we're going to talk about like different funding mechanisms. We're going to talk about what's going on in the state of creative funding in Colorado. We're still putting that session together, but I thought it'll probably be really relevant to the conversations that we've been having on this committee. And so we are hoping to have some takeaways from that session where we can hear like what are collaboratives on the ground thinking and what are some of the big ideas that are coming up in Colorado. And then November would be a deliberation meeting, just to kind of debrief like, okay, we've heard all these different things throughout the year and throughout August through October. And so kind of taking a minute to step back, reflect on what we've heard and talk about what this committee might be up to. And then December, we have left open as either okay, we don't need a meeting because it's the holidays, or, oh, we just deliberated on all this stuff and now we have all these ideas and we want to continue the conversation. So that's an overview of what we are thinking for the rest of 2025. Amy, do you have anything to add or share?
No, I think in more of the November deliberation, I've been trying to listen back at some of the meetings and collect some of the thoughts and discussion so we can maybe in a sort of table format look at, what did we learn from Restore and the Forest Service and all of these presentations, and how do they align with some of those pain points that we've been looking at this committee from a capacity standpoint or a match standpoint or timelines and the focus on earlier stages of readiness, so that as we wrap all of these presentations together in the later parts of this year, we can try and pull out what recommendations we might bring to the full council, or what recommendations we might ask Commissioner Jody Shattuck McNally to bring to this subcommittee on legislation. So I'm trying to just get organized as we have some of these presentations so that when we get to the later parts of this plan, we can have a good deliberation as a team and pull together some of what we've learned and how does it align with the mission of this committee and the mission with the Forest Health Council at large of bringing forward ideas to the governor and state legislature as well. So thank you, Katie, for putting all of the work into the timeline. And I think either of us are happy to take any questions or feedback as we make a plan for the rest of the year.
I think the plan is really great. It also helps with planning and getting people organized, and you can kind of plan ahead instead of like, oh, what are we doing next month? Now we gotta scramble and ask people who can come. And so I think it's great. And we also know what topics, and maybe can come ahead of time with questions. Or maybe we won't have questions till the presentation, but I do appreciate the work and the proactive planning. So I'm supportive, and thanks for what you've done to kind of lay that out.
Awesome. Yeah, the legislative committee does such a good job of planning out in advance, so we are trying to get on it like that. So
And I'm curious from, especially as we're thinking about things from a funding perspective, are there any organizations that folks would want to hear from that aren't on the list? Jody, I don't know if there's any from your committee presentations that might be good to carry forward with this group, or if others have any thoughts, that would be helpful to hear too.
Well, I'm always looking to have more meetings. No, there's just lots of great conversations happening in this spot. The only thing I think would be a good carryover is, and maybe you've already been talking about this as I've been stuffing my face with yogurt, is maybe emphasizing in this committee, and I think you've already done it, but how do we leverage our resources and our partnerships, since the federal and state funding is going to be even worse next year? And maybe just landscape grounding or discussion of the uncertain times and unprecedented challenges we're going to be looking at. It might be an important conversation at least have. So that's the only thing I can think of. Thanks.
yeah, that's a really good point. I think the work group is having a lot of those conversations, and then that's a lot of what we'll be talking about at the Colorado Forest Collaborative Summit as well. And so hopefully that what is that, October discussion, we'll get into some of that. And then yeah, as we see opportunity to expand that, we'll definitely invite more speakers. Any other feedback or thoughts? I'm excited to see what you all come up with in my absence. I imagine I'll come back in January and this team will have solved all the world's problems. That's my expectation. Just
We all can go out and become consultants since we figured it all out and get
Yeah.
paid the big bucks. I'm just teasing. If we figure it out, man, we'll be very, very much in demand for sure.
All right, cool. Well, that's everything on my agenda. Amy, is there anything else that you need for this group to help set you up for success, or any other thoughts that you have before I pass the reins for the next couple months?
No, I don't think so, Katie. I think you've done a nice job mapping this out. I'll still work with Courtney to send out the agendas and, help provide some preparation in terms of speakers so that folks can think about questions they might want to ask. And then I think this committee is always pretty tight on quorums. So if you can't make it, just let me know in case we need to look at alternate dates or shifting a week or two. And then for the December meeting, it's always around the holiday time frame, so we'll make that decision as a committee when we get there as to whether we meet or just do some homework assignments at some point. So yeah, I'm excited as well, and feel free to reach out if you have ideas of speakers or entities, and we can make space for them on the agenda. And then Katie, yeah, we wish you all the best. We're really excited to see your new little one and hear more about that, and happy to jump in here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Well, we'll give everyone a few minutes back, and I will see everyone in January. Have a good rest of your day and year.
Take care, Katie. Take care.
Thank you.